Destiny was supposed to open today, but she backed out. So this is
No,
Cindy and Destiny with the Keep It Real podcast, and we're here with round two with Rika Wildlee. How you doing, Rika?
doing great. Thank you for having me back on the Keep It Real podcast. I've said it once and I'll say it again. This has been one of my favorite interview spots since I started doing podcasts. So I am grateful to be back on with you two, enjoying the screen once again.
Yes, well, thank you. You've been one of our favorite guests. We tell everybody about you. I mean, fantastic, fantastic. So, what have you been up to since the last time we talked?
Well, the last time we spoke, which I just recently, since I seen you reshare the podcast, I rewatched it, and since then, I opened up Alabama, as we spoke about last time. Went, performed there. It was an awesome event. The crowd was great. The environment was great. I went against a fellow wrestler, Ethan Sorrow, and ended up winning that match, but my ultimate outcome of the whole situation was I opened up a new state. But just in that same respect, not this upcoming weekend, but June 1st, I believe, I'm going to be opening up a new state, another new state, Tennessee.
All right,
I'm
awesome.
going to Tennessee, Memphis, Tennessee, committed to wrestling. My schedule has become so spread just insanely over the past couple of months. I've got bookings all the way up into October.
That's awesome.
I mean,
congratulations.
Thank you. And I really didn't know how it was going to take off as far as who was going to see me, who was going to start trying to reach out, because like I've said once before, I am relatively new to the whole game. But the fact is I'm looking to learn. I'm looking to get out there, spread my wings, and make the most of this entire adventure. So that's what I've been up to.
Yeah, I mean, we've been seeing you here and there and everywhere, other people sharing your posts and stuff. That's great that you're getting out there. Also saw that you have some new merch and stuff. Did you little slam buddies?
Yes, I do. 1 second. I'm going to grab one.
Okay.
Grab one real fast. Give me just 1 second. Here we are.
Aww,
look at that. Look at that.
Cute.
A little Rika.
Aw.
Just as adorable as ever. No, but no, but yes, I have got some new merch here. Lately, I've got some new shirts on Pro Wrestling Tees. I don't know if we spoke about this last time, but I do all my own logo design. I do all my own video editing. I do all that. So I've been trying to build a better brand per se. As far as like my Pro Wrestling Tees, I put more logos out. I put more T-shirts out. I've now got the Wrestle Buddies. I just recently got in some beanies and some other small little knickknacks, some stickers and other stuff like that. But the way I feel about it is, as a new artist, a new entertainer, a new wrestler, whatever the case may be, you've got to be able to branch out and market yourself. It shows that you believe in what you've got going on if you invest in yourself. You know what I mean?
Yes. Yes.
But regardless of what I've got going on, we can get back to me in just a second. I've got to know. How'd your match go?
It went really well.
Awesome. Okay. I've been waiting to hear how it went. What was it? What we spoke about? Did you feel the vibes we were talking about? That's what I'm saying. It's a beautiful thing. It really is. And it's addictive. It's very addictive.
Yeah.
And to be honest, you could wrestle 1 billion times and it's never going to get any less boring, less addictive, because just the pop, the crowd. I don't know. I'll never get over it. Personally, I'll never get over it. I could wrestle in front of the same crowd 1 billion times, and as long as they're chanting and as long as they're making noise, man, cheering or booing, I don't really care. That's what I'm addicted to. But I'm glad it went well, though.
Thank you. Thank you. You can tell she's still shy.
It's okay. It's okay. We're gonna get more comfortable as we grow. That's why I'm back on. That's what we do.
Mm-hmm.
But anyway.
Yeah, I thought it went really well too. I enjoyed it. I was like, oh, emotions. I'm not supposed to show them.
Look, and it is, especially for a parent, friends, anything like that. When I won my first championship, it was in my hometown, and it was just the perfect storm, the perfect setup. I won my first championship, and I got to have my dad sitting front row.
Oh.
And him knowing my backstory and knowing how much I fought for this and how I've literally wanted it since pretty much I can remember, to be able to perform in front of the town that told me I would never make it, told me I would never amount to nothing, and to win a belt, a championship in front of the town that paid to see me and bought my merch and all of that kind of stuff was very humbling. Yet after the win, immediately, instead of cheering and hyping the crowd and I did it and all that good stuff, I walked outside the ring, I walked up to my dad, and I handed him the belt.
Aw.
Just like, look, dude, like, that's surreal moment. And that's what I'm saying. It's an emotional roller coaster and a moment that I'll cherish the rest of my life. But that's one of those things.
Especially when, I'm sure he's been a supporter of you, through your journey. So,
I say that, yes, but off and on. When I was younger, he's like, yeah, you can totally do it. As I got into my 20s, he's like, all right, dude, I need to calm down a little bit, like. But then when I actually started going to the academy and all of that, and started really, when I brought it back up at 30 years old to him, and I was like, look, I'm really thinking of doing this. I've talked about it for years. I've wanted to do it for years, but I've never had the opportunity. And when I called him on the phone and I was like, there's a school just opened up. I really want to try to pursue this. And he's like, do you think the door is even open anymore? At like 30 years old. And I know a lot of other wrestlers have started later than that, but I've been rough on my body. Just like, I know most wrestlers have done the backyard junk and that's cool, whatever. But I done it for a long time and just trying to scratch an itch that I had, you know what I'm saying? Trying to live a dream that I knew I probably in the long run wouldn't be able to chase. It was just one of those things. So I beat myself to crap. And by the time I was 30, joining the actual academy and going to get my professional license and really trying to make a go at this, my dad was 100% in support, but also like, please don't hurt yourself. Like know when to call it. You know what I mean? Like, if you can do it, that's amazing. And I'm behind you 100%, but just know where to draw the line, but he has been 100% supportive.
Well, as a parent, you're always, no matter how old your kids get, you're like, oh, yeah,
Right.
What are you doing? But go do it. Go.
Yeah.
Well, they tell you can't, but watch yourself.
and that's it, and he was one of the few that didn't really understand the gimmick. He didn't really understand what I was trying to build, in better words. But as it's gotten more, I guess, over, when he was sitting front row when I won the championship, he had a Rika Wildlee shirt on, and on the back it said Rika's daddy.
Oh, that's awesome.
And I was like, you know what? I gotta respect that. But now he's all about telling everybody, my son's a wrestler. He was in the hospital a lot. It's a funny story because one of the towns that this local company that I wrestle with, the one that trained me, the United Wrestling Entertainment Academy, we wrestle in a local town not too far from where I'm at, Marksville, Louisiana. And a lot of the fans that work at the hospital in Alexandria, which is like central location around here, go to those shows. So my dad ended up having some health issues and he got put in the hospital, and him and the nurses were just making casual conversation. And he brought up the fact that he was Rika's dad. When he come out and he told me, he's like, dude, I got 5-star treatment in there. He's like, they took really, really good care of me after they found out. I was like, that's awesome, man. But it's
Hey,
fun.
that is, your name's out there enough to where they knew who you were. I mean, that's saying something in itself, you know.
I'm just glad to be able to not only show myself, but show everybody else locally that you don't have to stick to the same handful of jobs that so many generations of people around my area have fallen into, whether it's working for, say, a prison guard, or working in the logging industry, or driving an 18-wheeler, or cement, or any of those things, oil field and stuff like that. You know, you don't, those are awesome jobs, don't get me wrong. They pay great, but they will, just like wrestling, I guess, getting beat up, but make an old man out of you fast, because they are rough jobs. And like my son, this actually happened, I think a little bit before our last interview, but my son invited me to the high school. They were having parent day, where the parents come up and they talk about their jobs and all that kind of stuff. So he wanted me to come up there and talk about the wrestling.
Mm-hmm.
So I showed up at the high school. There's a classroom full of kids, you know, they're 14, 15, 16 years old. And they got the big touch screen board pulled down. I pulled up my YouTube videos. I pulled up some of my matches, my highlights, my clips, my pictures, all that kind of stuff. And they were just over the moon about, like, we got a real, I even brought one of my little belts up there and stuff. And they were like, man, we got a real wrestler in here. And my son was like, dude, I got some real cool points from all the other kids, because my dad's a wrestler, you know. I'm like, well, it is what it is.
Yeah, and that's an awesome thing too. Like you said, no matter what you're doing in life, I mean, it will aid you the same as what you love.
Right.
You know, if you're doing something that you love, you're still going to age, but you're going to be living life.
Yeah. I mean, you're learning every day. You're learning every day from every experience, whether it's good or bad. Mm-hmm. And like I've said this 1,000 times in other podcasts and stuff like that, but this business, any business, no one is meant to do it forever. No one is going to be allowed to do it forever. Your job, whether it's in a regular 9-to-5 setting, or if you want to make a career in wrestling, or whatever the case may be, your job is to learn as much as you can, get as much as you can. So by the time it's time for you to fade into the limelight, you've got the knowledge to pass on to the next one coming up. And that goes with everything, you know, whether it's your children or your coworkers or whatever. No one is meant to do anything forever. We all have a final date, whether we know it or not. And paying it forward is the ultimate goal. Learning everything you can and passing it on to the next one.
Yes.
It's been happening since the beginning of time, and I don't see it ending anytime soon. So, you know.
Absolutely. I agree 100% with that, because like you said, pay it forward.
Yeah. That's how I live my life. That's how I've always lived my life. And, you know, people have asked me, you know, about how I feel about certain aspects of not doing the regular 9-to-5, going in and trying to pursue, which I do have a regular 9-to-5 job, but I also am trying to pursue this full time. And my ultimate goal through life, not just in wrestling, but just life in general, and I think a lot of people should think this way, but you know, I can't speak for everyone, is to leave a legacy worth talking about.
Yes.
You know, leaving this world in a little bit better shape than I found it. If I can put a smile on someone's face, even after I'm gone, then that means that I'm not dead. You know, my memory, my spirit, I guess you would say, would live on through the conversations of others. But that's part of trying to make your mark in the world that, we all have to say goodbye to one day.
Excuse my dog. You want to see what's wrong with him?
Uh-oh. Oh, wow.
If there's somebody at the door, he will go crazy.
I understand. My dog does the same thing. She's in there watching Harry Potter right now, so.
If he thinks somebody knocks on the door, he'll go crazy too.
Right.
But, last time we were talking about you getting into West Virginia. You're at Tennessee. That's
Yes.
closer.
Hey, I've got matter of fact, I'm about to open up 2 different states in June. I'm going to be opening up Tennessee and Georgia. I've never wrestled in Georgia either. I'm going to Marietta, Georgia to Stranglehold Championship Wrestling. Birthday of Champions. There's going to be all kinds of legends there. Coco Beware, Sergeant Slaughter, Sabu, Buff Bagwell. I met Buff Bagwell not too long ago, by the way. Just all kinds of legends are going to be there. And I know a lot of people know this guy or know the character he plays, but the guy that's going to be doing commentary for the entire event, Birthday of Champions in Marietta, Georgia, on June 7th and 8th, is Majin Buu from DBZ, from Dragon Ball Z.
Oh, wow.
No, I know. My mom was like, huge fan, and he's going to be doing the commentary and signing autographs and all that kind of stuff. But working in Georgia, wrestling one of the guys that I spoke of on the last podcast, Draven Lee. I said one of my dream matches with Draven Lee. I'm wrestling Draven Lee in Marietta, Georgia.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yes.
Wow.
So I'm putting it right here. You can, and you really can speak things into existence. I'm just saying. If you believe enough and you have it in your heart enough, you really can speak things into existence. So,
well, you just did it.
That's what I'm saying.
you just did. So, what was it like meeting Buff?
It was awesome. I mean, I got what I wanted out of Buff Bagwell, and that's criticism. He watched my match. He watched me wrestle. We were in Shreveport, Louisiana. And it was one of those shows that it was at a car show. So there was a floor in the Shreveport Convention Center, and there was cars, all kinds of fancy cars everywhere. Buff had a table set up, and when we showed up to get ready and everything, there was an empty table right next to him. So I was like, empty table right next to him, done deal. I went and set my stuff up right next to Buff Bagwell. So me and Buff sat around all day chit-chatting. I took a lot of pictures with a lot of people. Buff took a lot of pictures with a lot of people. And he watched my match. And after everything was said and done, and I was preparing to leave, I had all my stuff packed. He pulled me to the side and gave me some. He critiqued my match, and that's all you can ask from a legend of his status. Just somebody. Most wrestlers take it as they're chewing their butt or, they're talking down to them. It's no, please, by all means, tell me what I can do to get better. Like, that's the way I feel of any veteran, anybody that's been in the business, not only his caliber, where he was in WCW and done all kinds of things, but just anybody who has been in the business longer than I have. I am all ears. I breathe and sleep wrestling. I need to know so I can get better as a performer, as an entertainer. Yes, I've got charisma, don't get me wrong, but the fact is if you ever think, I got taught this like day 3, I would say, of joining the Wrestling Academy. If you ever in this business think you know it all, it's time to retire. If you never stop growing, just like in life, you never stop learning. You could be 90 years old and still learning stuff.
Yep.
Why? Because things are constantly changing. Things are constantly getting revamped and redone, and different avenues of certain things you can learn from. And if there's one way to do it, then there's 1,000. So don't put yourself in a box. And being able to talk to a veteran like Buff Bagwell and have him critique my match and tell me what I can do better was a blessing. And I can't thank him enough. So meeting him back in Georgia is going to be awesome. Maybe he'll watch my match and be like, "Hey, took my advice," you know.
Yeah. Yeah, because I bet you he'll be paying attention. He'll remember.
Oh, for sure.
He'll remember. Who else was it that you said that you got to be there with?
I know there's going to be Sabu, Coco Beware, Tito Santana, Cowboy Bob Orton,
Oh man.
Sergeant Slaughter. There's going to be a lot of people there. Like there is probably 30 legends that's going to be there at least. And I mean, of all different calibers and from all out wrestling history. I mean, and it's literally called the Birthday of Champions, and Stranglehold Championship Wrestling is one of the biggest promotions in that area. And the promoter, Eric Nelson, knows all of these legends, has all these contacts, and because it's his birthday, legit, they are coming to, you know, show their love and support for a guy who has supported them all these years. If anybody gets a chance and checks out the Rika Wildlee official TikTok, it's pinned. The promo for that event is pinned to the top of my page. It's an arcade. It's me in an arcade machine. Check that out. It's a very, very awesome event, and it's just going to be really cool to meet those guys, even if they are, you know, not performing and they're just signing autographs and things like that. But just like Buff Bagwell, being able to pick their brain, you know, take advice from somebody who has lived the dream, and now they're coming to me to tell about it. So I'm all ears.
See, I still want to meet Sergeant Slaughter.
I'm looking forward to that. I mean, I've always wanted to meet Sergeant. I've met DDP. I've met Jake the Snake Roberts. Jake's going to be there as well. I've met Jake the Snake Roberts. I've met JBL. I've met Kane when I was younger, back when he still wore the red suit in the 90s. That's about it as far as like mainstream WWF or WWE talent. But seeing as I'm going to be able to perform at an event where all these guys are watching is just mind-boggling to me, and it only sets in stone that I am taking steps forward. This thing is growing. Even if I was down and this stuff is growing, because a year and a half, 2 years ago, I never, ever, ever would have thought I'd be on a card where this caliber of people are going to be there watching, you know. So persistence. That's the motto. That's the drive. That's all of it. Persistence. Drive and persistence. If you don't believe, hey, if you don't believe in you, no one else will. Words of wisdom. Just saying. That's something you got to live by. Rule number 1, invest in your gimmick. Invest in your gimmick. Because if you don't invest in you, I got told this at the last Mississippi show I went to, Battles on Championship Wrestling. There was a legend in there. He's been all over. He was a promoter from way back in the day, Mid-South, this, that, and the other. And he walked into the locker room, and he was just over the top about my gimmick. He was just like, dude, I love the boots. I love the lights. He's just all in, you know. And I was like, thank you, man. I really appreciate that. You know, I don't toot my own horn, so I'm just like, man, thank you so much, whatever. And he was like, look, you can tell. You can look in the locker room, and you can tell who has spent time, who has worked on building their self as a brand and building their self as, this isn't just I'm going to do it on the weekend type thing. You know, I have made all of my own gear. Other than my top hat and my mask, everything that I wear has been handmade. And I didn't make my boots either. I had them ordered from Australia. But my tights, me. My jacket, me. The lights, me. The shirt, me. And why did I do that? For the simple fact of I can walk into any locker room and there's not going to be anyone with that type of gear. I stand out because 90%, nothing makes me sicker than walking into a locker room and there being 4 guys that have the same tights on, or the same boots on, and I understand you only can get what you can get, but there are ways around being unique, being, being you without being cookie cutter to everybody else.
Mm-hmm.
If you're going to try to be unique and stand out, that is this whole entire concept of this business, is trying to stand left to center so you get noticed out of millions of other wrestlers. And it is a hard thing to do, but it's not impossible. I mean, I'm just a little country dude from Louisiana, and there you go.
Well, like you said, it's all what you put into it.
It is.
And if you're paying attention to everybody around you, then you're going to know what all these other gimmicks are, and how to move forward with what you're trying to do and what you're trying to put out there.
Well, see, that's the good thing about living in the age that we live in. Back in the day, you couldn't tell. There was probably just a handful of people that made gear, I'd say in the 80s, 70s, 80s, 90s, stuff like that. And if you got the gear, that was great. And they probably done basic template designs of the same stuff 1,000 times over and just sold it to God knows how many people. But nowadays, we have the internet, we have Facebook, we have Instagram, all this. You can follow as many independent wrestling companies as you want, wrestlers that you want. You can follow thousands upon millions of people if you want to. And you can really sit back and do your research to try to see what you can build on that isn't being done. There are a lot of cookie cutter gear makers and stuff like that. And that's great. They make their money hand over fist. There's always people needing gear, and that's awesome. But to this point, I've taught myself how to sew. I've taught myself how to customize certain gear. I've taught myself how to what is the word? Embroidery? Like yes. I mean, I've taught myself how to do that strictly because, for one, I can keep it secret until I'm ready to debut it. Nobody else is going to see it. Number two, I don't have to spend the money. I can buy all my own sewing material and things like that and sit here at my house in the comfort of my home and make my own stuff. I'm okay with that. And I know it's not going to be anything that anybody has seen in any other locker room, which makes me stand out amongst the crowd. And I'm okay with that. But because we have internet and Facebook and Instagram and all these social medias, there's no reason that we can't sit back and look at all of these other independent wrestlers and see what's being done and what's not being done, and how we can uniquely design something that is going to catch the eye of the fan out there. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
So that's the awesome thing that we've got nowadays that they didn't have back then. And some people don't care about other people having their stuff. It may be just the same exact template design, the same things on the pants legs and all this kind of stuff, just maybe different colors or something. I don't know. But I've walked into many locker rooms and brought guys with me to shows, and walk into the locker room, they go to get dressed, and two guys in the corner over there are getting dressed as well, and they've got the same stuff on. And I'm like, man, how can you go out there? I understand if you're a tag team or you're a group, I get that. But how can you go out there and try to make a statement and make a name for yourself when you are literally the same exact as these other guys? Nobody's going to remember you. Nobody's going to understand what's going on. Why? Didn't we just see that guy 2 matches ago? No, it's a whole totally different guy, same gear.
Yeah, and we've been to a few events like that. I mean, and it's sad when you go to them and they're so just, I'm not picking on wrestling abilities.
No.
But when you leave there and 10 minutes later, you're going, who was that again? Who did we see? Whoa. Who did such and such wrestle? And it's sad. It's really sad.
We talked about this on the last interview we done, but understanding that there are more than just wrestling abilities that will put you over with the crowd,
Mm-hmm.
whether it be your gear, whether it be charisma, whether it be promo ability, whether it be, your wrestling ability or whatever. There's so many different things in different avenues of wrestling that could put you over. I know we talked about the Mount Rushmore in the last interview, but I'm just saying the different avenues of entertainment value. I'm going to throw up, let's see, R-Truth. R-Truth does not wrestle much at all. I know he's tag team champion now, but up until the last month or two, he hadn't really wrestled much at all in a long time, but is the most entertaining person on the entire show. You know what I'm saying? And that's, if you can highlight your strong points, some may not be able to wrestle that great. Some may have went to training and probably need to polish up and do some more training. But if you can entertain the crowd, you don't have to have the most amazing ability. You don't have to be able to do the 50, 100 flips off the top rope and all that kind of stuff, because people are going to remember that you were super entertaining, and that's what they pay to see. Yes, they pay to see wrestling, but they also pay to be entertained. They want to laugh. They want to, get mad at the bad guys. They want to do this, this, and this. And if you don't give that to them, then they're bored and they're not going to come back.
Yep. Yep. That's exactly right. And it's sad because with a lot of promotions, they'll have different wrestlers every time.
Yes, that's true.
But if the one time that you go, the ones that are there are the ones that leave the mark.
Hey.
And then you're I don't know if I want to go back there again,
I mean, the thing is like I said, I try not to put myself over anybody because I'm relatively new and I'm just trying to build my stuff. But I have been to shows where most of the roster was and one Walmart shorts and tennis shoes. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. And I'm not paying as a fan. I'm not paying 10, 15, 20 bucks a ticket to come watch Joe Blow from down the road look like he just climbed out of the bed and climbed in the wrestling ring. Yep. Whether he can wrestle or not, I know it's not WWE, and I know it's not televised most of the time, and I know, but as a fan and as a performer, I want you to feel like you are coming to an event, like a real deal show, not some crap that you put on in the backyard, I want to give you 110% something to talk about after you leave the event. And next time that I would come to your town or whatever, I know they would come back because they're telling their buddies, they're telling their friends, they're telling their family and the coworkers and all that stuff. And now you've got them on the hook. And now they're going to continue to come back. And now not only that, but you become the draw. And now that you become the draw, the promoter is going to pay you more because now you're bringing in a crowd. And it's a snowball effect. But if you don't invest in yourself first, if you don't put forth the effort to set yourself aside, invest in your gimmick, invest in your story, your name, your whole entire persona, then you're selling yourself short, and you're really selling the fans short, trying to get their hard-earned money, and probably not going to get booked back, to be honest.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, probably so. And
every place I go, I try my damnedest to just give 100%. I'll sit there for 20, 30, 40 minutes and take pictures with people. I don't care. I may drive 7 hours for $50, but the fact is when they're all going to follow me on Facebook. I probably get 20, 30, 40 followers every time I go to an event. Because as soon as I get out of the ring, they're looking me up on Facebook or YouTube or something. Okay, I'm taking pictures with people. I'm talking to people. I'm taking pictures with babies and all this kind of stuff. The ultimate face stuff. But I just really enjoy it as a gimmick, and I am these people. I just get to do it now. And I was those that was coming up and taking pictures with the wrestlers, and to be able to do that now is just humbling and amazing to me, and it really makes the dream surreal. So I will sit there for hours and take pictures of people. I have no problem with that. Talk to people, pictures of people. I don't care. I just enjoy doing what we're doing.
Yeah, see, and as a fan, that means a lot. You know, I mean, it's like you were talking about when you were a fan before you were a
Yeah.
wrestler. It means a lot, you know, to be able to talk to them, you know, and get to see who they are and what they're about, you know. And some of them that won't do that, you don't
Well,
care if you see them again or not.
I've talked to a lot of people, and they ask me about the mask and stuff like that, and even though a lot of people are weirded out by clowns, and I understand that the clown mask is in a way a metaphor to I'm just like you. You don't have you just like you here, okay? I know you get nervous. I know you get standoffish, and I understand that. I really, really do. I get it, but to a fan, to somebody that I'm meeting in person, talking to them person to person, you don't have to be nervous talking to me because I'm a human being too. I am. But I want to show you that no matter how different our lives may be, no matter how different backgrounds we may have, the fact is I am just like you. 110% all around the table, because if the roles were reversed, I'd be standing exactly where you're standing, waiting to get my picture taken with the wrestler. You know?
Mm.
So it does me no justice to shun somebody away or not talk to somebody, because if I do come back, now I know these people by name. Now I know their backstory. I'm not just making fans, I'm making friends, you know? And that's all I'm about. I'm a people person to the core. So
And you never know who's watching.
well, a lot of promotions, I'm a firm believer in doors open doors. If you go work somewhere and you happen to get the opportunity to go get booked somewhere, no matter how big or small the company may be, they may have a 20-person crowd or they may have a 100-person crowd. The fact is doors open doors. And if you go out there, whether it's in front of 5 people or 500 people, and you give the same full heartfelt performance, you know, those 500 people are going to remember it, and those 5 people are going to definitely remember it. But the fact is those promoters are going to sit back and go, you know what? This guy, it shows your passion. It shows your dedication to the craft. It shows your sportsmanship, and it shows your professionalism. You know, a lot of wrestlers, if they're wrestling in front of 5 people, their immediate thought is, all right, I'm going to give them a little 5-10 minute match, and I'm going to the house. It's no, 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 no. They paid their money just like everybody else.
No.
They went and worked all week long to get this money. They went and bought their tickets at the door. They spent the gas to come out here. They're spending money at the concession to get food and drinks for their kids. I'm not about to give them a half-ass performance just because the crowd's not big. That's not their fault.
Right.
That's not their fault. The fact, I mean, it could be 100 different reasons the crowd, didn't show up, whether it was promoting issues or anything like that. But the fact is they spent their money just like everybody else. And it's my job as a artist, as a performer, entertainer, wrestler, whatever you want to call it, to give them their money's worth. Period. So.
Yeah, and that if there's 20 people there, there might be 20 people that drag 20 more people in the next time.
Doors open doors. Doors
Yeah.
open doors. That's what I'm saying. And word of mouth travels fast in the wrestling business, especially if you've got something that sets aside from other wrestlers. If you're real with the fans, and I'm going to put it that way, a lot of wrestlers get the big head. I'm a wrestler. I don't have to do it. No, dude, you're just a guy. You're a guy playing a part. You're just as real as every other fake actor in the world. Love wrestling to death. I do. Love wrestling to death to my soul. But the fact is, if you can't be real with the fans and you can't be real with yourself, then you go home every night, look yourself in the mirror, and lie.
Yeah.
Okay? You are a person first. And if you wasn't real with the fans, and you grew up with that mentality of going, I'm going to be a wrestler and that's all I am only a wrestler. I'm just a performer and I'm above and beyond everybody else and da 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 da. Then it really just like you said a minute ago, sets everybody negatively at you. Like, I don't want nothing to do with that guy. Even I've seen baby faces, good guys that have that same mentality, and I'm like, how can you shun somebody away who is literally you, except for you got the chance to become a wrestler? I mean, we all are fans. At the bottom line, we all are fans. We wouldn't love this pretend life if we wasn't. I mean, I look at it like this. I have a normal 9-to-5 job. I do. And I get to play Batman pretty much because I've got a gimmick. I've got a whole costume that I get to put on part-time and go perform and do things for people and have them really enjoy themselves for a split second. And then I go back to my normal life. So I can either play Batman or Bruce Wayne, but either way, I'm the same dang guy. And these people understand that I'm real 100% of the time. Yeah, I put on a facade for the gimmick and all that kind of stuff. But when it comes down to talking to me at like my merch table or just want to take a picture or whatever, I'm 100% for that because I am you, period.
See, and that's one reason we love talking to you on here is because you are real. I mean, even in your gimmick and everything, you're real. You just open up and you say what the truth is, and how you feel and what you believe.
Yeah.
We love that.
I can't speak for everyone. I can't speak for the entire industry. I can only speak for me. And the fact is I don't want, even if I'm being a heel, even if I'm having to one day turn heel and all this kind of stuff, never, ever, ever in my life will I ever turn somebody away strictly because I'm having to play a part. Because I'm me. I'm me 100% of the time. At heart, I'm still the same 7-8-year-old kid who fell in love with wrestling. And I feel that way every time I get to step in the ring. Every time I step through the curtain and I'm doing my whole thing and I see these little kids running up and they're wanting to, give me a hug and all that. And I'm in the middle of doing my entrance and they're wanting to run up and give me a hug. I don't care if I'm doing an entrance. I'm stopping and giving that small child a hug. Like, that's just how it is, And even though it puts me over more as, the super baby face, it's the fact is like, I understand. And that's what I want fans to get. I understand the level of entertainment, the level of charisma, and the level of passion that it takes to not put yourself up here and just stay level with everybody. We are on the same wavelength. I'm just happy people come to the show, enjoy themselves, and want to come back and watch me and it not get boring to people and not, get stagnant. So.
And that's important. That's so important. I know we have never gotten bored with anything that we've watched with you. I mean, I know you've been doing some other really good podcasts too that we've been seeing.
All over the place.
Yes. And we are so happy for you, and seeing your matches just pop up here and there and your merch and everything. I know I wish we had so much longer to talk.
Yeah.
But is there anything else that, like you said, Pro Wrestling Tees for your shirts, right?
Yes. Pro Wrestling Tees has a lot of designs, new designs that I put up in the last month or two. You can message me personally if you want any other items. I do have, like I said, stickers. I've got a handful of Wrestle Buddies left. Got some beanies and some other things. I'm in the process of getting more Wrestle Buddies so I can, start putting them more at my merch table and things like that. But as far as my t-shirts and stuff, Pro Wrestling Tees would probably be the best way to get those. And I'm probably about to be putting a sale on most of my shirts just to try to get them moving a little more. So look out for that. But Follow all my social medias: Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, Snapchat, Twitter, you name it, I got it. And I appreciate y'all so much for having me back on. It is always a pleasure.
Thank you. And hopefully we'll be able to have you back on again, maybe after the birthday party that
Hey,
you told us
hey,
about.
I'm all game. I mean, the way I feel about it is the weekends that I don't wrestle, like you said, I'm doing a lot of podcasts and stuff, but I'm never not in promoting mode. I'm never not in, trying to get my stuff out there. I'm not wrestling this weekend. I'm not. I have nothing going on. So now I've done 3 podcasts this week. You're the third. And I knew I had nothing going on this weekend. So I'm publicity, and I'm pushing my stuff, and I'm constantly selling the gimmick. And that's what promoters see. But that's it.
And all of your social medias are Rika Wildlee.
Yes, Rika Wildlee. It's either you can just Google Rika Wildlee. Literally, I done it the other day. You can Google Rika Wildlee, say Rika Wildlee Facebook, it'll pop up. Rika Wildlee TikTok, it'll pop up. Because
Okay.
I am the only Rika Wildlee in existence, which is crazy. I'm the very first thing that pops up when you type in Rika Wildlee on Google, which is wow.
Okay.
But that's part of being setting yourself aside, being unique, doing something that hasn't been done, and use social media to your advantage. I'm talking to you. Use social media to your advantage. Go do some research. Look at all the other wrestlers and all the other gimmicks out there and all the stuff that's being done, and do the opposite of that. But thank y'all really for having me on, and it's always a pleasure, and I'm looking forward to coming on next time, and we'll have to do it again.
Yes, absolutely. Thank you. Thank you again. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Destiny, would you like to close us out?
Come on now. I'm waiting on it. Let's do it.
This has been the Keep It Real podcast with Rika Wildlee, and we're telling you guys to keep it real. See you next time. Bye, guys.